Hello and welcome back to our Monster Chase game. Sorry I was away for a while, but I had some projects going on, I had work to do, so I was a little bit busy. But now I am back and I want to finish this Monster Chase game series and after that move on some other stuff that I have prepared for my YouTube channel. I also have prepared some sprite kit tutorials, some libgdx tutorials, so we are going to see many game development tutorials in the future. And now I want to continue with my Monster Chase game. So here is where we left off in the previous video. What I want to do now is create a new scene, which is going to be our main menu scene. So here we have the gameplay and I'm going to go under file and click on the new scene. And here we have a complete new scene. I'm going to hold command and press S. That's on Mac. On Windows, it will be control and you can press S. And I'm going to name the scene. So I'm going to name it main menu like this, and I'm going to save it in the assets and here scenes folder, and I'm going to click save and here it is main menu. So what I want to do now is create a canvas. So under game object UI, we need an image that is, but if we create an image, we are going to create a canvas along with it. Before we continue with the image and edit the image, I'm going to select the canvas, go here in the inspector panel, and right here where it says for the canvas, the render mode, I'm going to set it to screen space camera. And I'm going to attach the main camera. So drag and drop the main camera from the hierarchy panel right here where it says render camera, where I'm pointing with my mouse. So simply drop it right here, and here we have our main camera. What I also want to do is select this under Canvas Scaler UI Scale Mode, click on this drop down list and I'm going to click here Scale with Screen Size. And the screen size is going to be 1280 by 720. And I'm going to match width and height equally by setting this right here at 0.5. And we also have this bar that we can drag left or right, but setting it at 0.5 will match width and height equally. So now going back to our image, I'm going to rename it to background. So background, and I'm going to position it at 0 and 0 for the X and for the Y, because I want it to be positioned at the center. And for the source image for the sprite, I'm going to search for my background right here and simply click on it. Or you can go under assets and then sprites. And here it is our background, and then you can simply drag and drop it right here in the source image. I'm also going to click here set native size, but our image is exactly 1280 by 800. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit bigger by playing here with the width and the height. So I'm going to set the width to be 1300. So 1380 by 820. So 820. And this is our image right here. We also need another image for the moon. So under game object and UI, I'm going to click on image and here it is. And I'm going to put it right here. And this is going to be the moon. And I'm going to rename it moon right here in the hierarchy panel. And here I'm going to drag and drop the moon right in the source image for our image right here. And I'm going to click on native size and here it is, our moon image. So this is how our main menu looks like so far. So now what we need to do is we need to add our two buttons. So here they are. I'm going to open them. So these two buttons. And if you did not slice them before, let me just close this now right here. I'm going to close it. If you did not slice it, simply select it here, player select, and go under sprite editor. And let me just go here. Let me just drag it here, and you can simply slice them. So you can select how you want to slice them and click here on slice, and then they are going to be sliced. So here we have one and here we have two. Let me just pump this up a little bit. And here we have button 1, here we have button 2. So player select 1, player select 2. When you click here on slice and they get sliced, so slice and then press here slice, they will be sliced like this. Then you need to hit apply right here. So now we have these two sprites that we can use separately in our game. And now we can go here under Game Object, UI, and create a button. And here we have our button. I'm going to put it right here, and this is going to be named as 0. And I'm going to remove the text from it. And for this button, for its image, I'm going to simply drag and drop the first image. So player select 0 and simply put it right here. And now we have that image. And you need to put it right here under image script and source image. Put it there. Don't put it right here under target graphic. I'm going to set the native size, and here it is. But I am going to resize it a little bit. So let me just take this and resize it like this. So let's say at 250 by 250. So 250 by 250. And we can do that by simply manipulating here the width and the height. I'm also going to position the moon a little bit here on the top. So like this, so that it does not bother us. And here is where I'm going to put my button. So right here. This is how my button looks like at the moment. I'm going to simply copy the button by holding component or command, and pressing D. It will duplicate it, and I'm going to rename it to 1, and I'm simply going to reposition this one right here. And now this is what we have for our buttons. Of course, we need to change the image. So here, for the image script of this button, I'm going to drag player select 1. And now we have this player right here. Of course, you can play with the position a little bit, maybe put them a little bit up or a little bit down, wherever you want them to be. But this is where I'm going to position them and how we are going to do it inside of this video. So now what we need to do is we need to create a game object, create the script for it, and attach it on that game object so that we can interact with these buttons. If I run the game now, this is what we see and what we have. Let us just wait for Unity to load. I can click on the button, but nothing is happening. So I'm clicking on it, but nothing is happening. In order for us to interact with the button, I need to go here under Game Object and create an empty one. So empty Game Object, and I need to name it Main Menu. So Main Menu Controller. So Main Menu Controller. And under our scripts folder, right here, I'm going to right click and create a new folder, which is going to be our game controllers. And here we are going to add our gameplay controller, main menu controller, our game manager, so on and so forth. So now I need to right click inside of this folder and create a new C# script, which is going to be our main menu controller. So now we have the main menu controller. And I need to attach it right here on our main menu controller game object. And now I'm going to double click it and open it here in Mono Develop. And this is what we have in our main menu controller. So in order for us to interact with our button, and let me just tag the script here. So script or class, whatever you want to type here, class like this. And I'm going to hold enter just to give a little bit of space so that we can see what we are typing. So in order for us to interact with our button, and we can remove this, we don't need it for now. So in order for us to interact with these buttons, we need to create a method inside of this main menu controller script and attach it on our two buttons. So what we need to do, we need to type public void, and here we need to type go to gameplay or play game, simply play game like this. Now, in order for the method to actually work, it needs to be public and it needs to be void. If it takes arguments, it can only take one argument, and that can be a float, a string, it can be an integer and a boolean. As far as I remember, you can look that up, in order for us to interact with our button. So here, if I go and type print button touched, we can go back here in our Unity editor and we can select either of these buttons or both of them. So I can select both of them and scroll down here in the inspector panel. And here where it says this on click list empty, where I'm pointing with my mouse, here we have the plus and the minus sign. We need to click on the plus sign, and here we need to drag and drop the game object, which is going to be our main menu controller. So simply drag and drop it right here. And that will enable us to select here from this drop-down list the scripts that are attached on our game object. So here we have the main menu controller script. And here we have the public methods that we have declared inside of our script. So here we have the play game. And we can select now, click on it, and select the play game, which is this one right here. Public void play game. So this method will be now executed when we touch either of these buttons, because we have attached it on both of the buttons. So here for the 0 button, here we have attached on it, and here for the 1 button, we have attached it on it. If I run the game now, and notice in the console, if I press either of these buttons, notice in the console, button touched. Again, I'm going to press this one, button touched. Again, click on it, button touched. Again, click on it, button touched. So this is how we interact with our UI elements, specifically with our buttons. So we create a game object, we attach a script on it, we create a method that's going to be a public void. It needs to be public void. If it takes arguments, it can only take one argument. And I forgot exactly which arguments are. I think integer, boolean, float, a string, and an object. But you can look that up. You can find it easily on Google. And that's how we interact with our buttons. So when we create the method, then we need to select our buttons. And right here in the inspector panel under onClick, here we need to click on the plus button and then attach the game object. And then from this drop-down menu, select the script that we have created and the method that we have created in order for us to interact with that game object. So it's really simple. It's nothing complicated. If you still don't get it, you can ask in the comment section below and I will answer it right away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in my script. And prior to Unity 5.3, I think, we used application.loadLevel in order to load the level. And here we pass the name of the level that we want to load. So name of the level or the name of the scene that we want to load. So before we load the actual scene, what I'm going to do is go back here. And if we want to load the scene, we need to add it to the build of our project. And in order to do that, we need to be in the scene that we want to add and then go under File. And here we have Build Settings. So click under File and then Build Settings and this will pop up. After this pops up, we can click on this Add Open Scenes and now we see that we have this main menu scene added to the Build Settings. We need to also add our gameplay. So I'm going to quickly go in the gameplay and save this one also. So go in the gameplay, double click on it and click on add open scenes. And now we have added both of these scenes in our build. If the scene is not added here in the build the same way as we did now, you will not be able to load it and go to that scene when you click application load level or using the scene manager, which we will see in a second. I also want you to notice these numbers right here. So we have 0 and 1 here where I'm pointing with my mouse inside of this build settings. So our main menu is under number 0. That means that it's the first scene in the array. And here when we add them in the build, we are actually adding them in the array, but we are not seeing that through code. We're adding them visually. So our main menu is the first element at the 0th index in the array, meaning it will be the first scene that's going to be loaded when we play our game. And when I say when we play our game, I mean on a real device, be that computer, PC, desktop, or I don't know, console or any mobile device. If we change it here, if we just drag and drop our gameplay scene, now the gameplay scene is at 0 index, which means it will be the first that will be loaded when we load our game. But I'm going to put back our main menu and here we have our gameplay. So this is how we can put our scenes in the build so that we can actually load them in our game. So now that we have done that, we can go back in our script. And as I said, prior to Unity 5.3, I believe, we used application, load level, and pass the name of the scene. I think this will still work. So if I go here, and if I type gameplay, and this is really important, you need to type the same name of the scene that you actually named it. So if I go back here, the name of the scene is gameplay. and we have G capital, all other letters are lowercase. So gameplay like this. If you type, for example, gameplay with capital A, but that's not the name in the scene, this will not work and you will not load that scene. So I'm going to leave it at gameplay. This is the exact name. You can simply go here and enter copy and go back here and paste. And that way you can be 100% sure. I think that this application load level still works. So if I go back here and hit run, if I click here, we are supposed to go to our gameplay. So it still is working, but it's obsolete. That means that it is removed. So we need to use a new method for it. A new way that Unity has implemented this is that we need to type here, right below using Unity Engine, we need to type using Unity Engine dot scene management. So type using Unity Engine dot scene management. After that, we can simply go here and we can type scene manager dot, and we can type load scene. And here we need to type the name of the scene that we want to load. So the same way as with our application load level, but now we are using scene manager load scene. And here we can pass gameplay. So this is it. This is all what we need to do in order to load our gameplay. If I go back here in Unity, and this problem here, or the warning that we had, will go away because we had that warning. We used application load level and it warned us that it's no longer available or it will be removed completely from Unity. So now if I click here, run, if we press either of these buttons, we are going to go in our gameplay. So here we are in our gameplay and we can move the player left and right. We can try to avoid our monsters, so on and so forth. But I'm going to go back, rerun the game again and click on this button now. And here it is again, we have our player right here in the gameplay and we can play our game. So this is for our main menu. What we need to do next is that we need to create our game manager who is going to hold these two players in an array. And based on which button we press, so if we press this button, it's going to load this player right here. If we press the other button, it's going to load this player right here. So in order to do that, we need to create our game manager, make it a singleton, so on and so forth. But all of that we are going to see in the next video. Again, sorry I was away for a long while, but I have a lot of planned for this YouTube channel. I'm also creating my website where you can see everything what I'm going to do. You can see all of the courses, all of the tutorials, everything that I have to offer, which will be very soon and you will be informed. A new tutorial series is going to come right away after this one. I'm also going to cover SpriteKit game development, libgdx game development, probably Unreal Engine, so on and so forth. Stay tuned, subscribe, share, like, comment down if you want to know something, if something is not clear. I will try to answer it right away. I'm going to look at my YouTube channel every day from now on and take a look at the questions, answer them. So anything that you need, please ask in the comment section below. This was it for this video. I'm going to see you in the next video where we are going to begin to wrap things up with our Monster Chase game.